When you sit down to decide whether a new piece of gear is worth the money, the biggest fear is ending up with something that sounds great on paper but just doesn't fit the way you work. That hesitation is real for anyone who's ever bought a DJ controller that promised everything and then discovered half of those features sit unused on a shelf. In this review, I'm going to break down the Rane FOUR DJ controller and its built-in DMX lighting interface so you can see if it truly delivers value in a real-world setup, or if it's another piece of gear that will collect dust. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. First, let's talk about the core problem this unit tries to solve. Many serious DJs who play clubs, festivals, or corporate events juggle two pieces of equipment, a controller for the music and a separate lighting console or software to sync visuals. Managing two devices means two laptops, two cables, two learning curves, and a lot of extra time during soundcheck. The Rane 4 attempts to collapse that workflow into a single surface. If you're the kind of performer who wants to cue a track, drop a hot scratch, and simultaneously fire a lighting cue that matches the drop, the idea of an integrated DMX output is instantly appealing. What does that look like in practice? Imagine you're opening a set at a downtown club. Your first track has a slow build, and you want the room's moving heads to follow that rise, then flash on the beat drop. With the 4, you can assign a DMX channel to the track's master fader, and as you ride the fader the controller sends a smooth intensity curve to the lights. No need to open a separate lighting program, click sync, and hope the timing lines up. In a live scenario where seconds count, that level of immediacy can keep the energy flowing and avoid the awkward pause that sometimes happens when DJs have to toggle between two apps. The hardware side of the 4 is built around 4 high-resolution platters that feel solid enough for serious scratching. The pads are pressure-sensitive, and the layout mirrors what you'd find on a traditional 4-deck setup, which means a battle DJ can transition from a mix-and-lay mindset to a performance-oriented one without relearning hand positions. One practical strength here is the dedicated stem split button. In a club environment, you often need to isolate vocals for a live mashup or drop the instrumental for a build-up. Pressing the stem split lets you pull the vocal channel out of any track loaded in Serato, giving you a clean a cappella without needing a separate stem prep service. That's a time saver you'll actually notice night after night. On the lighting side, the DMX interface is a 4-port output that can drive a modest rig of moving heads, LED bars, or even a full wash system if you keep the total channel count under the limit. The biggest hidden trade-off is that the 4 doesn't support the kind of advanced cue stacks you'd find in dedicated lighting software like Light Jams or MA Lighting. You get basic intensity, color, and strobe parameters that you can map to faders or knobs, but you won't be able to program complex sequences or run multiple fixtures with independent timing from the controller alone. If your shows rely on elaborate visual narratives, you'll still need a separate lighting console or a laptop running a full DMX suite. Another practical consideration is the learning curve. Rane markets this as a plug-and-play unit, and on a basic level that's true. You connect the USB to your laptop, hook the DMX cable to your lights, and Serato picks up the controller automatically. However, mastering the integration of audio and lighting takes practice. You have to think in 2 dimensions, the groove of the track and the visual response you want at the same moment. For a DJ who has never touched DMX, the first few gigs can feel like juggling knives. That's not a flaw in the hardware, it's a reality of adding a new discipline to your performance. Who should consider buying the 4? If you're a professional DJ who regularly plays in venues that already have a lighting rig, or if you book yourself for corporate events where clients expect a synchronized audio-visual experience, this controller can streamline your workflow and potentially reduce your gear list. It also makes sense for battle DJs who want to add a visual edge to their routines without hauling a separate lighting controller. The price point is higher than a standard 4-deck controller, but the value comes from the time saved in setup and the creative possibilities that appear when you can manipulate lights on the fly. Who should skip it? If you mainly DJ at home, stream on Twitch, or play small house parties where lighting is limited to a single LED strip, the built-in DMX may never see use. In that case, a more affordable 4-det controller without the DMX ports would give you the same scratching and pad performance at a fraction of the cost. Also, if your lighting needs are already covered by a dedicated lighting programmer that you're